The next tab has to do with your text stamp. I'll point out some things. First, you have to enable it to work. Okay, and there are some presets, and it's called dynamic text. You open that up. The default is enumeration, which means merely that you are picking a series of numbers to stamp each document with. You're saying the first number, the number of digits, and the zero padding. The next preset is file name. This one's my favorite because I like to go through and process the documents first and create a file name which is like a bait stamp in a way. It's an identifying number that you associate with that document, a tracking number, and what this preset does is it takes each file name and it uses it for your bait stamp number. So they basically match between the file name and the Bates number. That makes the most amount of sense to me. This will stamp with the local time. This will be local date. And I guess that's in there twice. Okay, so my favorite file name. So as you can see, we already had enumeration as the default, so we'll just delete that. And you'll see this F. F means file name. Okay, so it's just a little symbol that tells it what to do. Now we have the position control, the default being down in this corner, and this offset is telling us that it's pretty much in the corner. Now depending on how long your number is and everything, you may need to tweak that, and that's what these offsets are. You can change those numbers. Here's your start value. So if you're going to do the enumeration, you've got your start value, your step, and your zero padding. Zero padding, again, meaning how many digits you're going to want in your file name. We still have these controls here with the full size, apply, and start. So from any pane, you can see those controls right there. Now the last thing you're going to want to know about is your font. So you're going to click that and it will open your font dialog. 2.5 is a really good default. Okay, so that's okay. Now you're going to want something. Unicode is pretty good. I don't think you want bold because it just tends to look a little bold anyway. Just make sure this is all 2.5. Okay. Now if you notice, you can make it semi-transparent or see-through. You can pick color, shadow. You can have a background color to it if you wanted to block out some kind of background stuff. You can use your background color size, so that means you can actually increase the background if you wanted a bigger stamp, and the number would stay the same, but the background, if it was another color, would stretch out. And you can create a drop shadow, which we really don't need, actually. So there you go. We've picked our font, and I'm just going to number these according to the file name. We do have image capability set up pretty much the same way. With this position offset, you can pick an image. It has to be enabled, of course. We also have barcode, same kind of thing. This will put the file name here if you want. It positions. The default is output file name or custom text. You can, in this function, you can rename your output files. You can add enumeration. You can change the file format. You can change the file size. And the thing I use most in this situation is creating a border. You can create a border where really just on the bottom edge. Say if you're bait stamping, you put a text height so it creates a little border for you to stamp in. In other words, it's lossless. That's a very favorite thing of mine to use. So we'll use it right now. The other thing is to apply some filters. You can deskew. That means if it's not straight on the page, sometimes when you scan your own, they come out a little crooked. And when you're trying to do OCR with a crooked document, that's less good. So you can deskew. You can improve black and white image quality or reduce the color palette. So if it's just too much color, you can make it a little less color and save some memory on the document. You can print the documents as they are being stamped. I have done that before, but if you have too many documents, like more than 25, let's say, I don't recommend it. It's easier to come in later and just print them as a batch, and then you can keep an eye on them better. You can create these images as HTML pages. So for example, you can set it up with this advanced button here. You can give it a title, which is whatever you want actually. And then you can pick the number of columns and how wide it is and create thumbnails. So basically you're going to have sheets of thumbnail. If you wanted somebody to get a copy of all these images, you can post it as a confidential HTML document on your website, just like that. So that's the use of that one. You can create a report, like an Excel report sheet with all the documents, numbers coming down on the report. That would be good for things like privilege logs. And then there's two settings here for output image size. Small, which is good for black and white, and large, which is for color. So you can manipulate. Mostly we work with black and white, but sometimes we have some color images to look at. That's really the walkthrough.